Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. It is Sunday night, and we are so excited to have you joining us or listening to this recording. Y'all, I'm not going to lie, on the weekends, I know it's hard on Sunday to be like, oh, I got a call. I think it's never convenient to do things that will help you grow. But I can guarantee you, like, if you've never been on this call, or for those of you that come when you can, like, I can't go to bed after them because being around community, even virtually, is such a gift, such a tremendous gift. And so I'm excited to come and share with you a little bit tonight. We talk a lot on these calls about a variety of things. Sometimes we talk about mindset, or because that's such an important piece of this whole journey. You purchased the nutrition and fitness tools through Beachbody, and you were, linked arms with your coach, which is why you're here, and you were invited into our community, which is such a gift. And so one of the things that is big in our company that we have incorporated in our challenge groups has been personal development, which we incorporate with faith and growth. And I think sometimes what happens, though, in this journey is you sign up and you get your program and you get started, and first week passes and you follow your 2B mindset to the T and you lose a few pounds, and the next week passes and you gain them all back, and then you're like, it doesn't work and you want to quit. Or you start lift 4 and you've never lifted weights before, and after a week and a half in, like, you're feeling a little tight in your pants and you're like, it doesn't work and you want to quit. And you can mindset it all day long, but there's a missing link, and I want to talk to you about it tonight, which is data. You need to become an expert of you. So when I first started my first challenge, well, actually, before I did my first challenge, first time I ever did a Beachbody program, I purchased the program Insanity off of an infomercial. It was a Christmas present that Courtney and I bought for ourselves. We did not have the money, but we did it anyway because I was desperate for change. I had 5 kids and I could not lose the last 10 pounds of my baby weight. And so my clothes didn't fit and I was unhappy, even though I was running. And even trying to track points because I was a Weight Watchers user back in the day, something wasn't working. So, infomercials are really good. They motivate you. So I got it, and I did the fit test and I puked. And I did the whole program, every single flipping workout on Insanity, y'all, which is not an intro level workout. And when I finished, I did it by myself. Courtney and I did it together. I was like, that didn't work. You know why? I never took a photo. I never took a measurement. I based everything on the scale, and I didn't see it moving the way I wanted to. I never wrote down what I ate. I never did any data. And so honestly, number one, I know without a doubt if I had taken before and after photos, there would have been some muscle. And if I had actually tracked progress, I would have noticed growth in other areas. And I should have high-fived myself because that's a really hard program and I finished it. But I didn't because I was a perfectionist. And so if anyone is in this group that struggles with perfection, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And I want to talk to you tonight about what I wish I would have done then, what I've learned, and why I do it now. Yeah, I know, I need that bracelet, Sarah. And teach it to you so that you can learn. So whether you've been in our challenge groups for 5 years plus, or this is your first go round, reevaluate what you're doing and see which part of this tonight can help. The number one thing I'm going to tell you is you need to start where you are and be proud of yourself for starting. It's really easy when we start to think of so much of the goal of where we want to be that we spend every day in a panic of getting there instead of enjoying the process. When you write a meal plan every week, we have these meal plan sheets that are in the files of the unit section. Just write down what you're already eating every week. If you've never written down what you eat dinner every night, right? You eat breakfast and lunch. That's your meal plan. You don't think you have to pull up Fixate and draw 20 recipes from Against All Grain and hit Whole30 catalogs and do this picture perfect meal plan. Just start where you are. If you eat fried chicken every Thursday, write it down. The first step of this process is owning where you are, because you can't change it if you're not willing to share it. And y'all, there's a lot of us, we have We're all growing. I mean, and I think that there's this false ideal that you have to have this like perfect eat tofu and zucchini noodles every day. You can never have a Coke. You can never eat pizza. You can never have fried chicken. Yo, when I was on vacation, hush puppies are life. Like you can have things that are not top, like the most healthy thing on the planet. But if you're embarrassed about it, then you're never going to be able to make progress, because the shame is like this chain to your leg that is holding you down. So if you've never made a meal plan, step one is to print that sheet off and just to write down what you eat. Because then you can look at it and say, okay, you know what? So every week on Thursday, we have fried chicken. Maybe this week instead of doing fried chicken, I'll try that almond crusted chicken that's in the meal plan because it tastes as good, people have said, and it's not fried. Like you swap one thing out, you don't change the whole thing. Or maybe you're like, I drink Coke every day at lunch. Maybe I'll just have it on Friday. Like I know one of my best friends who's been a coach forever, and he's like, he lost 189 pounds, and we went to college together. He drank multiple Cokes a day. And when we were in Vegas, we went out to lunch one day, and this is back when I was a perfectionist. Even as a new coach, I struggle still with perfectionism, and he got a Coke, and I was like, oh, like you drink Coke, you're just a coach, you can't drink Coke. And he's like, Sundays I drink Coke. It's like my treat. And I was like, oh, you can do that? And that was because I still needed to grow. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, he's like, I don't have it every day, but I love Coke. So every Sunday I drink one, but he's like, I had to work towards that. And so start where you are is my first tip. If you've not yet, print off the meal plan sheet, write down what you eat, and post it in the group. Because the other part of it is you got to turn the light on. It's not so scary. There's no judgment. I promise. The second is planning when you're going to drink your shake and your supplements. I know there's several times that we invest in things, and I've had challengers say, I haven't even opened the bag, or I've only drank it twice, or I don't know when to drink my Recover. Or I don't know what to do. I got these beach bars and I'm not sure when to have them. That's why it's good to write it down, because if you don't, you invested in this product and you want to be using it because it's going to help you reach your goals and change your life. And it's a healthy part that's in your house for you to have, that's easy access. So once you have your meal plan down, make sure for one of those meals, you have your shake written down as your option. Whatever is most convenient. One of my challengers has it for breakfast every day. That's what I did when I first started because I skipped breakfast. So it was my way of making sure I got breakfast every day. But plan that in. And then the third part is what I'm going to really expound on tonight. You need to get yourself a journal. I love journals. You can get them at everywhere now because it's like back to school. So there's notebooks everywhere. It doesn't have to be fancy. But you need to start to collect data on yourself. This is the fun part of the journey because this is where you say, I'm going to actually make this happen and own my day. And so I, at first, didn't like this because my reasoning was, if I write down what I eat, I'm going to be thinking about food all day long and it's going to make it worse. Because I struggled with disordered eating for a very, very long time. But what I found was when I actually started writing down, it showed me I didn't eat enough, or I was eating too late at night, or I was skipping meals, or, you know what I mean? Like, so it didn't make me want to eat more. If anything, it showed me, like, it opened my eyes to why I might feel the way I feel, or what I might need to do that's different. So the first thing you want to do in your journal is you want to start your day one. You want to step on the scale. You want to get out that measuring tape and measure your arms, your chest, your hips, your thighs, your waist. And if you want to, your calves. I've never measured my calves, but some people do, so that's cool. And you want to write them in here. And then you want to take a picture. I recommend you grab a pair of jeans or shorts that you really want to be more comfortable, or that you maybe can't button. Like I've done that after having a baby. These are like my post-pregnancy pants. I can't even pull them up after having a baby, but like I put them on and be like, and that's like my start place. Like I had these white shorts I put on vacation that were so snug, and I was like, okay. So I put them on, and I didn't do it this week because I'm not perfect, But that's your day one photo. And then every week on Saturday, you step on the scale, you measure, and you take a picture again. And if you can, take them in that pair of shorts or the jeans or whatever. They don't have to be in a bathing suit. They don't have to be in your bra and underwear unless you want them to be. They don't have to show them to anyone unless you want to show them to your coach so they can tell you. Because sometimes I've had times where I've had to ask someone, do you see any change? And they're like, yeah. Because sometimes your eyes are so used to just shaming yourself, it takes a while before you can actually see the change. And your coach is not going to lie to you, like I promise. So commit to every week tracking your data. Because if you're doing lift 4, like I did lift 4, I gained weight, but I lost inches everywhere. And I went from lifting 5 to 10 pounds to 25 pounds, and I was squatting with a 30-pound weight. And I've never lifted that heavy unless it was picking up my kid. And so if I was not tracking, like when you do a program with weights, they'll even tell you to track what weights you're using, but tracking my measurements, I would have easily felt like I'd failed in that program if I was only basing it on the scale. And I also was taking pictures so I could see like muscle definition. Like, y'all, I don't hope this is not TMI, but like I was comfortable in my underwear. Like I felt like I could walk around and like if I put a bathing suit on, I wouldn't have been ashamed because I was the person who never would walk around in a bathing suit bottom without shorts on because I was self-conscious. And that to me was like a non-scale victory that, you know, maybe nobody else gets excited about that. But when you're 40 and your rear end doesn't sag as much as it used to, I was excited. So I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't tracking and paying attention. So that's the thing you want to first start is if you've never taken a before photo, if you've never, do it now, please. Because that was my biggest, like, I wish I would have done that, you know? So that's number one. You want to have your starting point. And like I said, I really love it when you have like, these are my goal pants or my goal shorts. Because the thing is, if you get to the end and you were fitting in those shorts and you're comfortable and the number on the scale is not what you thought it would be, you start to learn to break up with this idea that a number is everything. Because maybe you have more muscle, mass than you've ever had before and you're the healthiest you've ever been. That's another thing I had to realize. My first challenge, all I wanted to do was get the number down because I was so stuck on a number. I had this thing of I have to be in this number. And then I started doing weightlifting programs. And when I compare, I had no muscle. I could not do a push-up. I was afraid of them. I thought I would fall and break my nose. And I'm not lying when I say that. Like I was terrified of push-ups. And now I'm like excited till I got to do 5 on my toes this week, which is huge for me to do it all. And I'm super slow because I'm still nervous about smashing my nose. But I'm like, on my knees, I'm fast, but on my toes, I'm slow. But my point is like at 40, I want to be gaining muscle. I don't want to not have muscle mass. Like it's important, you know? And so I've learned that my weight that needs to be a little higher than the number that I was always married to in my head. And I had to learn like to base it off of how my clothes feel and how I feel about myself and how I, you know what I'm saying? So that was huge. So that's number one. The second thing to track is the day-to-day. I want you to start writing down your food. And these are the things I want you to write down. What time it is you're eating and what it is you're putting in your mouth. If you lick the peanut butter spoon after you make the sandwich, write it down. Is that because I want you to obsess about the calories and the peanut butter? No, because I want you to pay attention to how you feel after you eat it. What we eat, what matters about it is to pay attention to how it makes you feel. So like if you're writing down, you know, your shake every morning after breakfast and how you feel full and satisfied or you feel bloated, then you can think, well, what did I put in my shake? Oh, I put peanut butter in it. I'm going to make it tomorrow without peanut butter and see. Because like I learned peanut butter is not my friend, unfortunately, because it's wonderful. But I learned it because I was writing it down. Otherwise, I would have just assumed it was the shake when it was actually what I was putting in it. I want you to write down what you have for lunch and what you have for snacks, because then you'll discover, do you eat 3 solid meals a day or do you graze from 12 to 3 and never get a full sit down, enjoy food meal? You can't notice your habits if you don't write it down. And then you'll say like, oh man, I don't eat any vegetables. There were days on vacation that we ate no vegetables. In New Orleans, there's no such thing as vegetables unless they're a potato or corn. Like every time we went to eat places, it was like corn on the cob, peas, mashed potatoes. And I was like, what I wasn't eating veggies. Thank goodness I had Power Greens to put in my shake. And so it's good for you to write it down, the time, what you ate. You don't have to measure it. You don't need to count the calories. Unless you're using Portion Fix, you should measure it. But the time, what you ate, and then how did you feel afterwards? Did you feel full and satisfied? Did you feel like you needed to eat more? Just pay attention and do that for every day. And, pay attention to what time you stopped eating, what time you started eating, and fried okra is so good. And just start to take the data, because what will happen is you'll learn some of the things that you might love, but you don't love how they make you feel. It helps you make a decision like, I'm not going to eat cheese this week because I noticed every time I ate it last week, I got really bloated. And I'm going to see if it makes a difference in the scale this week and in my measurements. And then if go a whole week and try it, and you might have progress and decide that, moving forward, you're confident because you know how food is affecting your body. Or you go to Chipotle and you get everything in the bowl and you decide to, not have the sour cream this time, or not have the cheese this time, or whatever. You make decisions based on the data of you. Because here's the thing, I can eat certain things that some of you can't eat, and some of you can eat things that I can't eat. And it's not because it's bad, it's because our bodies are unique. And if you don't write it down, you don't know. Like some of y'all might look at my stuff and be like, well, Kelly doesn't ever eat bread. Is bread bad? No, if you can have bread, just pay attention to how you feel when you eat it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's a study of you. And so writing it down, I want you to take time to do that. And if you feel comfortable, what I would love for you to do is every day in your accountability check-in, post a picture of your tracker. Just snap a photo of it. But the beauty of it, is this. Say you write down today your weight, and then you go to next Sunday and you write it down again, and you had a weight loss. Look over your week. Repeat. Say you get to the end of the week and you go up. Look over your week. What can I adjust? Change one thing. Ask your coach, can you look at my stuff with me? And they could say maybe like, I noticed you ate every night at 9:30. Let's try not eating after 7:30. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have data, you're going to go crazy. And that's what I noticed is the last few weeks I've been tracking using like an app, but I do better when I write it down. So that's my commitment now, which is why I wanted to talk to you about it, because I notice when I write it down and I'm more intentional about thinking how I'm feeling, I'm not stressed as much anymore. I'm being more in control of what I'm doing. The other things that you need to write down, once you kind of get the monthly or stats once a week, I don't think, unless you're doing TV Mindset, stepping on the scale every day is up to you. Even Alana talks about how she steps on the scale every day, but if it's tripping you up, once or twice a week is fine. So it's up to you. If you step on it every day, I don't think it's a bad thing, but just know it's going to go up and down, because your days, like you might work out hard and be swollen from lifting weights. You could be starting your cycle, but the photos and the measurements are really important as well. The other things to track, your water. You want to be getting at least, like I would say 75 ounces, if not half your body weight in water, especially when it's hot. You want to track your supplements, taking your Energize, Recover as your post-workout. When did you drink your shake? Do you add things to your shake like Power Greens and things? Track those things too, and start to notice, like I started Shakeology on this day, and I noticed that this day I'm not craving in the afternoon. My energy level is not dropping. So you want to know how your supplements are working in your favor so that you understand it's not just some shake you drink for the heck of it to get protein. There's actually things in it that are going to help heal your gut, reduce your inflammation, fill the gaps in your nutrition. So pay attention to how they're making you feel. Like, what changes are you noticing, How many hours of sleep are you getting? That's the last thing. It's really important to track that. You could be stuck in a plateau because you're not getting enough sleep. You want to get like 8 hours of sleep, which I know from new mamas or mamas with babies, it's like, haha, that's funny. But doing the best you can and just tracking your sleep, because sometimes you could be eating perfect, but your body's so tired, it's holding on, and so it's just good to have the data. But if you feel overwhelmed by like, oh my gosh, that's so much, start with taking your measurements and start point this week and writing down your meal plan. And then next week, track your measurements and start writing down your food. And do that for a few weeks. And then after that, start writing down your sleep. You know what I mean? You don't have to like feel like you master it all the time. You might have a day you forget to write stuff down. That's okay. It's not about being perfect, but if you are doing this because you want to change, part of the process is when you learn how this works and your body works, you don't get addicted in the wrong way of like obsessed with calories or obsessed with the scale. That is not the goal. What you find is my body and food have a relationship and I need to nurture it. Like I am learning to love my body and how it like tolerates certain things and doesn't. You know, it's more than just, I'll be happy when the scale says this, or I'll be happy when it's not. It's, I'm happy now because I'm not afraid of the donuts. Like I buy donuts every Saturday morning for my kids on my way home from therapy. It's their treat. I love donuts, but they have everything in them that I'm not supposed to have. And there's occasions that I'm like in a bad mood and I eat them. And I write it down. I was in a bad mood and I ate donuts. And if there's a season where every Saturday it's happening, I need to stop buying the donuts. But if I'm not writing it down, I'll just keep tripping and falling in the same hole. Or this past Saturday when I bought donuts, I took one bite, my stomach started hurting, and I was like, you're not eating any more donuts. And the rest of the day, there was like one sitting on the counter, and I'm like, oh, there's one left. Not eating it, Kelly. Remember how it made you feel? Not eating it, Kelly, it'll make you sick. Like it made me more aware because I'm paying attention to how food makes me feel. It also gets you creative of ways to make things that you want to eat that are similar to what you can't have instead of getting bitter about what you can't have. And I'll tell you that if you've never done a nutrition program and nutrition is hard for you or a challenge, talk to your coach about the two that Beachbody has developed. And the reason I'm telling you this is because 2B Mindset is a course, and so is the Ultimate Portion Fix now. When they first came out with those containers a few years ago, I remember I was like, I'm going to starve. Those things are tiny. I don't want to do it. And I don't like measuring things, because to me, I didn't like it. But when I followed it, it worked and I ate a ton. But I never understood why. You just did it. What I love is now Ultimate Portion Fix is a course. And then when 2B Mindset came out, I loved it because I'm more of an intuitive eating. It's kind of what I'm comfortable for how my brain is. But it's a course. I know why I need to eat that carb instead of that carb, which helps me make a better decision. I know why it's important for me to not eat after dinner. I know why, like I learned behind the scenes, like why it made me more confident. So if you feel stuck and you haven't invested in a nutrition program, consider it. Because they're very different, but they're equally as good. And one will fit your personality best and can help you if you're in a place where you can't navigate it. If on the other hand, if you're doing really well following what's provided with your program, then you don't worry about it. But I want to make you aware, like they're there for a reason. Beachbody, as far as I know, has never come up with a product just for the heck of making a sale. And every product they have is made to fill a gap in your nutrition or your fitness so you can have optimal health. And for some of us, that means we had to do like what I did. I started with a workout and then I added Shakeology in because I was like, thought it was the most amazing thing ever. When I tried it, it was so good. And then slowly I started adding other supplements like to help, and then the last part for me, honestly, y'all, is the last few years, the food journaling. And I wish this is something I had done from the start, because the first few years, as much as I got results, I still battled this relationship with food that wasn't healthy. I felt like food dominated me. And so taking time to own your journey, to notice trends, to notice the foods that make you feel good or bad, to notice when you're stressed, becoming a student of you, it really will help you to not only have success in your journey and reach your goals, but to maintain that. And I feel like for those of you that have children, it'll help you with how you talk to your kids about food. It'll help like not pass on maybe behaviors you had as a teenager that weren't healthy. My oldest two are my daughters, and I know that I've talked to them about why I write my food down and how I'm paying attention, how I feel. And when I ask them to cut back on like certain things, like my daughter, one of them, like she'll eat, she loves sugar. Like she would drink a 6-pack of Sprite and eat a whole bag of jelly beans and pound a box of Cheez-Its and be like, oh, that was a good dinner. I mean, she loves sugar and white carbs. And I wanted to talk to her about it because I noticed that she's not feeling as good. She's breaking out in her face, but I don't want to make her self-conscious. So instead I was like, I want you to pay attention to how you feel when you have those things, and then make a decision if it should be, how often you think. Like just starting a conversation instead of, my mom would have been like, well, if you stop eating that, your face won't break out, which was what I almost said, but that would have been the worst thing ever to say, and we all make mistakes. My point is, it's not just about you. This is a legacy you pass on, but it starts with you. You can't fix others until we really put our own oxygen mask on. So my challenge for you is to post in the chat right now. What will you track this week? Have you done your before photos and measurements in a while if you've been on this journey? And, will you commit to tracking this week in a journal? Yeah, just post it here. I think it's good for us to say, I will track what I'm feeling and how I feel, or I'm going to start with my measurements. Just post tonight what part you need to do. I'm going to do my meal plan tonight. Like I said, if you need to start with one, definitely start with your measurements and your photos. But as far as food, start with just writing down your meal plan and owning that. And then start your daily, and then start posting it, tracking your water. Yeah. And for me, I'm getting back to food journaling and the actual journal. So that is what I have. Does anyone have anything they want to add, or anybody have any questions? This is awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. Yay. Yes, definitely. I've never done the same pair of whatever it is every week before, and I find that that's like a really great way to notice change. The last thing I'll say is, one week you might put them on and they're snug again. That's good. It's good to know when you're going in the wrong direction, so you don't go 30 days in the wrong direction and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? If every week you track and the scale goes up, or your pants are tight, or you don't feel good, that's only 1 week, and you look at the data and you course correct. That's the other positive. So if you try 1 week, you're like, oh, I gained this week. Share that. Don't be embarrassed about it. I've been wobbling up and down for the last 3 weeks, and I finally broke through a plateau after 3 months today, and I was excited, and it was 0.2, but I don't care. Like that's progress, So it's okay if it goes up and down. That's normal.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I can't. I wanted to speak a little bit to people. So Kelly is my coach, and she is the person that I send my pictures to because I convince myself that there's no difference, and I don't see it, or I talk myself out of it. Like I'll see something and then talk myself out of it. And she's the person that I call when the scale goes up and I'm freaking out about it. But I want to say something, because I internally and sometimes externally roll my eyes sometimes, a lot of times, when my weight isn't changing and I get told to focus on non-scale victories. And I want to talk to particularly people who are not fighting to lose the last 10 pounds of their baby weight, but people who are working on 50, 60, 80, 100 pounds that they need to lose. Okay, because that's the category that I'm in. And I want to tell you that every single thing that Kelly said is spot on. The only thing that's different is the time frame. The only thing that's different is sometimes the scrutiny. Because I got to tell you that for me, I have some autoimmune diseases as well, and sugar is beyond my enemy. even natural sugar, even healthy sugar, even quality sugar, even the sugar that has all of these other health benefits too, like honey or fruit or things like that. And I really have to watch those things. And if I want the scale to move, then I really have to follow To Be Mindset. And if I have cheat days, I blow the heck up. And so I want to encourage you in saying everything that she says is spot on, and you have to decide what it is that you want. We all have to decide what it is that we want. But if you have a significant amount of weight to lose, you might have to commit to a season where you're not going to have the cheats for a while. You might have to commit to a season where you're going to say, I'm going to give this up for the sake of me. Y'all, I had donuts this morning. I did. I shouldn't have, because I had made this decision. And then everybody was good at church. And they're like, we were so good at church. Can we have donuts? And I'm like, sure, we can have a donut. And so I had one. But I only had one, which was a win. So that was like Kelly was saying, I only have Coke on Sunday. Well, I only had one donut, which was a win. But in this season, for me, I need to not. Because I can feel it. My hands are really stiff. My joints are stiff again. My belly is bloated. Like I was starting to see shrinkage in my midsection, and I'm feeling more bloated. So I just wanted to reassure you that when you're listening, because I am the eye roller, I am. When I hear people who say, they're really trying to lose their last 10 pounds of baby weight, I want to be like, yeah, except everything she said is true. It's true no matter how much weight you need to lose. The only thing I would say to that is you might have to take one for the team of you and say, look, I am not going to have that serving of fruit. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to have, I'm going to give myself, not from a perfectionist standpoint, but I'm going to give myself a week, and I'm not going to have the Coke this week. Mm-hmm. And I'll decide about next week. But for this week, here's what I'm going to do. That's the only thing I would say to give you somebody who is 50 pounds down with a lot more to go. This stuff is still true. And to the pound, when I focus on my weight, it stays the same or goes up. When I focus on my mindset, my weight goes down every single time.
Yeah. So. No, that's so good, because you eating the donut is not bad and you're not bad. It's you're making a decision that I'm not going to do that next week because of how it made me feel. So when you track it, you honestly take more ownership.
Absolutely. And you don't hide. And tomorrow morning I don't go, well, why is my weight up? Why do my hands hurt? Well, because I ate a freaking donut. It's the real consequence in my life of that decision. For you, if you have a donut, you really are going to feel sick because it's got that deadly vanilla in those eggs. It's really going to make you sick. You can't just those things really do have an impact on our body regardless of where we are. But that collecting data and knowing what you're doing and taking ownership of it, because food is food and you have taste buds and you're meant to taste your food and you're meant to enjoy things. And there's a reason why every time something major happened in the Bible, there's food involved. Every major, revelation and group experience has food involved, because you're meant to, it's part of us as creatures of culture. But anyway.
No, that's so true. Thank you. Yeah. And I think honestly too, learning that, when you say that about you want to kind of roll your eyes, when people give you a compliment, believe them that they sometimes see the changes in you before you do. And if you keep going, then you'll see them too. Because that was a big part of my journey too. But sorry, the comments are funny.
If I can chime in real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
From a perspective of somebody who's lost over 100 pounds using Beachbody, I did my best when I tracked everything. Just to further back up Kelly and Sarah's point, when I was tracking what I was eating, I was doing containers at that time. So it was before To Be Mindset, before Ultimate Portion Fix. I was using the containers for whatever program I was doing at the time. And when I tracked, when I measured, when I used them to make my meals, that was the most attention that I paid to how I was feeling, what I was actually eating. And staying on track and making that choice to say, you know what, that treat I just don't need it right now. And I mean, I'm up a little bit in my weight right now. I went through a really hard season with my weight, but I know what I need to do to get it back down. And I know like what works for me because I had that period of time of where I tracked and used the containers as they were, hang on, baby, as they were designed to be used.
No, it's so good. Yeah, for sure. And I think like, so what I wanted to share like tonight is that the mindset piece matters. The workouts matter and your supplements matter, like all of it, but don't be afraid of tracking the data of your story because like Tasha just said too, some of us have gone through seasons where you've had a baby and then you like, or you're postpartum, and like now it was so great because I know, I mean, my situation is different, but like postpartum, I know what to do now and not be super restrictive. I know what my body needs more of in some seasons when my hormones are wackadoo. Like, and I know that because I've written stuff down. And so I want the purpose of you joining these groups is, I mean, number one, we want to get you surrounded and loved on, but number two, we want you to be healthy and the best health, and then ripple that into your family and inspire your spouse or inspire your children. And the freedom comes when like you're brave enough to like, because half of the eye rolls that I would give were because of fear that I wanted to let go of my excuse. Like, cause that was my excuse for, well, if I track my food, I'll just obsess over it. No, it really didn't. Like, it really didn't. I obsessed more when I didn't track it because I couldn't remember what I ate and I was worried all the time. And then the scale would go up. And like Sarah said, and I was focusing so much on the number. And when I let that go and I started paying attention to how I felt and this and that, like, gosh, it really did change. And as a coach and us as coaches to not tell you that is literally to cheat you of the beauty of this. And so the Beachbody Nutrition app will allow you to track based on 2B Mindset or Ultimate Portion Fix. So you're welcome to do that. And I believe there's even a notes where you can write notes in there. So you could write how you feel. Or if you're a paper person, grab a journal. They're fun. And write it down on a paper. But that way you can go back, because it's really hard when you're not accurately tracking and giving it time to know what to do, you know? And like Sarah said, there are seasons. There are definite seasons where you have to be like, I'm not drinking any wine for 30 days or 1 week at a time. Because usually you say 30 days and I'm like, because I love like a glass of wine. But if I drink a glass of wine, it usually turns into 2. And by the next day I'm like achy and, you know, so it needs to be worth it. You know what I mean? Like you just make it worth it. And that's how freedom comes too, because you find other ways. Like to me, like kombucha is like my new treat that I have. Instead of having a glass of wine on Sunday night, to have some kombucha, you know, and like Sarah said too, and I know others have said this too, like there are certain things that never will taste as good as a hush puppy. So when you're on vacation, allow yourself to have one. You know what I mean too? Like there's some things that are never going to taste as good as, like, I don't care what you say. I've had coconut milk, goat milk, almond milk, cashew milk, avocado ice cream. It's not as good as the stuff by where Sarah lives. There's like a dairy.
Do they make avocado ice cream for real?
It's called Cado something at
it's really good.
It's actually really good.
Not the same.
But it's not the same. You know, but I have to tell myself when I go to Graders with my kids, do I want, to me now it's not worth it anymore. But for a season, I would have some every once in a while, because I don't want you to think, you know what I mean? Like sometimes people are like, this is so good, I'll never, no, there's some things that are just really good. Elephant ears are phenomenal. But I don't eat them every day. I don't even eat them once a year. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, it's not to, I don't know what else to say, like BS yourself. Sorry for lack of a better phrase, but it's rather to inform yourself. We're like, I'm choosing not to do this because I don't want to feel like crap and I want to get to my goal. And that's why also thinking about why it's important to you matters. So all the fried things, I mean, literally you fry anything and it's good. So Well, thank you guys for hopping on tonight. So in your group, we'll post this in our group tomorrow for the Monday focus, but I want you to think about what level of tracking are you going to do this starting this week, based on where you're at, level up a little bit. And there's virtue involved and growth in this, y'all. So like it can be offered as a prayer. Following the containers for 21 days could be a fast as a prayer. You could literally write the names of 10 people you love, and every day you want to cheat, you decide not to, as a prayer. Like, what I'm saying? There have been seasons that I offer up things because I need to do it for someone else and not just myself. And you could do it for our group. Like, there's growth that comes in that virtue. It doesn't have, and that also helps to not make it like just about the food. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to we have in our group, like, your prayer intentions. So write prayer intentions for this week. And every time you want to have a Coke, if you're trying to give up soda, go read the prayer intentions and say, I'm not going to have soda today because I'm going to offer it up for so-and-so's family. As a prayer, Lord, I'm not going to have this today, and this is like uncomfortable, and I'm going to just offer this for them, because that's how we unite to one another too, and make it not just about us, which is a powerful part of this community. So, all right, well, that's kale chips. Ooh, I always burn my kale chips, Beth. Maybe you could come over and help me not burn them. Oh, I'm excited for that, Tasha. You're going to look great. Thank you guys for being here. I didn't get to read all of everything I see is about chocolate chips and fried dough. So for those of y'all not on live, you need to come on live because we talk about all the junk food in the comments. But yeah, I like that, Angela. Be the person that brings the salad or the veggie tray. That's me. I bring like guacamole and veggies to stuff because I could eat guacamole, and it's all good. Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, I am so thankful for this beautiful community. Lord, we are here because we desire change. We are here because we want to love our bodies and honor our bodies as a temple, to strengthen our bodies through movement, and to heal, God, from the way our society really pushes this all or nothing with food. And Lord, I just ask that you would help us this week to have the virtue to be disciplined, to write down and own what we're doing, and to be proud of what we're doing every day with our nutrition, and to not have shame when we eat things that aren't perfect, and to not have fear when we're surrounded by others that are not on the same path as us and maybe rude comments that people make, but have the confidence to know that, God, you have called us to live our lives in freedom with food and with our bodies and with movement and our mindset. And I just ask that we would have that Romans 12 just freedom this week of like transforming us from within and letting the way we treat our bodies and move our bodies just be how we worship. And that when we don't want to do it for ourselves, we lean in and we do it for one another. And I ask that you would strengthen the community of our challenge groups, that you would help us to reach our goals, that you would help us to look in the mirror every single day and smile at the gift that our body is, that you would help us to see how strong we are, that you would help us to see how beautifully and wonderfully you have made every single one of us, no matter what size we wear or what number we have or where we are already beautiful in your eyes, Lord. I pray that you would help us to be encouragers to one another, to help point out one another's victories, that you would, Lord, just help whoever is here tonight who's felt stuck and feels like I'm the one person that this won't work for. Help them to have a victory this week of seeing that this is working because they're here, and that you're proud of them for being here, and that they're going to experience healing and reach their goals. Lord, I pray that we can be that light for one another. And I thank you for this group and for all of our challengers and all of our coaches in our community and those that will be joining us in the upcoming months through the rest of the year. And I ask, as we take our 100 steps, Lord, that you just keep us focused on grace, not perfection. We pray all these things in your most holy name. Amen. Thank you, guys. I didn't get a photo. Can we take a quick picture? Can people smile? If anyone is not, hold on. Sorry. I'm not fast. 1, 2, 3, smile. Y'all are awesome. Thank you for being here. Have an amazing week, guys.